Hey everybody, I'm Jody-Vance.
Hey, and I'm George-Affleck.
And on UnSpun, we are going hyper local and then very massively global in a way that George and I are still trying to catch up with the news cycle, but we're going to try and take all the spin out of it because it's in the title.
I'm fun. You managed to get spin, spun, and I got a spun, and then we got that three times in that intro. Nicely done. It's a lot of, a
Branding.
lot of, it's a lot of
Brand,
brand, a lot of brand. I got a bit of
branding.
a cough, just so you know. Preparing, I had a cold over the weekend. Caught
Well,
from my
when we
18-year-old.
were, I was going to say we were recording last week and you were saying that your son who popped in on the screen for a moment before we were recording, he's home, he's unwell. And you were kind of like, sure he is.
I'm a hard ass, you know. And
You
I
are.
and I now have to eat my actual words because he was sick, because I got sick, and then Amanda got sick.
Oh.
But we're not quite as dramatic as as he is. But it's when we're old, and when we were kids, and I think we weren't allowed to be sick. You had a stuffy nose, go to school.
Off you go. Here's some tissue.
Yeah,
Off you
that's
go.
right. And
My mom was a lab
no
technician though,
drugs.
so my mom was
Right.
like, I was one up from getting a blood test at home, and then she'd call me and say, "Get to school." Yeah, no, no
Yeah,
drugs.
no nasal sprays, no medication.
No,
I know.
no.
What torture. Now I'm just all
Yeah.
over the drugs. I'm just like all over the you have NyQuil, DayQuil, Afterquil. Bring them
Well, you
on.
needed, you know what? There's a massive, let's segue to the headache that was
Haha.
at Vancouver City Hall this week, because we talked a little bit about the
Yes.
controversy around Councillor Zhao making statements on WeChat to the
Mhm.
Chinese Mandarin speaking community, the Chinese community,
Yeah.
making big statements about a number of ABC councillors, in particular, Councillor Sean Orr, about, affordable housing being drug housing and that they deal drugs. And then since last Thursday, video of current mayor Ken Sim came out where he was addressing uh, that situation and was really, it was quite something to watch that video. Do you want to describe the video?
Well, I mean, the press conference, he did a press conference about something else. But of course and this was on Thursday, and I think it had come out, and then he held a press conference and he kept saying,
Well,
I've apologized.
there was one that I was talking about the video prior to where he was speaking to the community where he was saying, "Oh, you looking for Sean Orr?
Mhm.
He's downtown handing out
Oh,
free
yes.
drugs to people on Christmas." Like there was no wiggle room around what he was saying. He was calling the counselor a drug dealer. And so that video surfaced. And then he called the press
Was Sean
conference
Orr
on the
doing that?
Thursday,
Was Sean Orr doing that?
handing out
Donating?
free drugs
Yeah, like Gene
to,
Swanson did.
but that's not what the mayor said.
Oh, I
There
see.
was no
Okay.
context to what the mayor said at all. There was no, yeah. I mean,
I think
let's
so. Yeah.
let's not muddy the waters with
No, no, but I
what
think, yeah.
surfaced.
So,
What
yeah.
surfaced was Ken Sim calling Sean Orr a drug dealer. And on Thursday, Ken Sim kind of sort of loosely held a press conference where he's like, "Yeah, sorry about that." In the midst of, like, to your point, he was talking about something else. And then that
Yeah.
was not good enough.
Well, and talk about spin. With reporters, you can only go so far with your spin. And so
Right.
he said he was told, I guess, by his team, just say the same thing over and over again. And so he kept saying the exact same words, which is a crisis communication strategy. Don't stray from
Right.
the message, stay with the message. And he kept saying, I
Frustrating.
called Sean over last night and I apologize. We'll do better or whatever. And then I called Sean, I called like, but Mr. Mayor, blah blah blah. And I think I said last week, I can't remember, but my strategy for him would have been, look, I apologize to Sean, but here's the problem. If you look at the voting record over the last, certainly since Sean Orr was elected, and those councillors that were on stage yesterday, like speaking against this, and again, it's not an excuse, but clearly they have an interest in protecting what's going on in the downtown east side, and I am not somebody who is supporting what's going on. We are trying to change what's going on down the downtown east side, and we need to do things differently. If they want to keep doing things the
He did
same,
not do that.
that's
You
what he
should
should
run
have
for
done.
mayor, George. You should run for mayor. Are you promise? You pinky swear. You announce here if you do, right?
I think Ken will
But
be fine. He's got a war
how do we
to
know?
cover him now.
You what?
He's got a war now to cover him.
The, we got a lot of politicians that are probably
Yeah, pretty
feeling
happy.
less tense in their own situations because the temperature around the globe is where it's at right now. And we'll get to that in a second. But suffice to say that Ken Sim, after trying to stick to that one, I'm sorry I called Sean Orr and everything's fine. And then Sean Orr, of course, came out and said, I do not accept his apology. And that is a bunch of garbage. There was another press conference that it was like the most Ken Sim will hold a press conference at this time. See you there. In the press release, I got it. I'm like, oh, usually there's some context. And then he stepped out and completely mea culpa, like over and 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 over, which, by the way, is
Never a good idea.
it's never good. However, refreshing in today's political environment where no one ever apologizes for being wrong about anything.
I don't know. I feel
Ever.
like it's now standard with politicians. Gregor Robertson did it in 2014 and he got away
I
with it. It
remember
made me
that.
so mad.
Yeah.
You know, it's
It made me so
okay,
mad.
sure, it's fine, but come on, stand up for your beliefs. What is the issue here? And then
Yeah.
I just feel like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's not even spin to argue that those counselors are supportive of the. I think that's a totally valid argument, and I think that's kind of within. And I talked about this last week within the Chinese community. There is a sense that they're under police, that the Vancouver is too loose on this stuff, and
Oh yeah, they are
that's where
very,
Lenny
very,
was
very
going and all that.
conservative.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
So
conservative, especially when it comes to any type of stimulant, drugs or alcohol of any
yeah,
kind. It's just a very different, culturally different.
yeah.
The thing that makes me a bit sad as a Vancouverite and a voter and somebody who tries to be on the unspun side of things is that the housing that was actually being discussed at the root of this controversy has nothing to do with drug dealers. It has nothing to do with SROs. It's housing, affordable housing for people with disabilities. Like it's
Mhm.
affordable housing for seniors. And instead, it becomes this other beast. And that's the thing. This isn't just about the downtown east side. In fact, it's not at all about the downtown east side. It's about Vancouver and it's about affordable housing in Vancouver. And it pisses me off that it became this whole other thing. All of them, I'm pissed off at all of them. But you know what I'm not pissed off about? Controversial. Ring a bell. We should have a bell that we hit that it's like someone's going to not like this when they watch our podcast or listen to us. We're changing our clocks for the last time this Sunday. We spring forward and then we're staying there, George. And I
Are
love
we?
it. I love it.
Are we?
I
Here
love
is
it.
the
I'm
world's
gonna
world's worst rollout of a good news story I've ever seen.
ever,
I mean, unbelievable
ever.
how this is turned against him right now. So this is David-Eby's random choice, even going against what I'm sure staff and all the experts have told him, and every single every single organization, the border, the airport, everybody came out against him on this.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Except for the
And
public.
he's like, whoa,
97% of the public wanted it.
I
97.
know. But then 98, but then people are going, well, wait a minute. We've always wanted it, but you have to do it in alignment with all, everybody has to do it at the same time. And the argument is, of course, just driving to the border or going or getting your flight and tickets and all this stuff. It gets really, really confusing and very, very expensive.
So we'll
But
be
I
mountain
agree on the
time
surface.
for
At
half
least
the
they're doing it
year.
the right way. They're pushing the clocks the right way. I was worried they would go the other way.
Exactly, George. Oh my
I
gosh.
was,
Yes, because you know what at the root of it all for me is this fall and winter, when we get to those dark, dark days in November, the latest the sun will set is 5:15 p.m. And I get
nice.
it. Mornings are going to be darker for longer, but you know what? All day is dark in November. But those afternoons where it's 3:45 and it's black outside, I'm
Depressing.
sorry. I think it's going to actually impact people mental health and activity wise so much more than having to change your clock, like having to watch your clock because our these do it for us. They
Well,
do it
I got
for
bad
us.
news for
And
you. He's gonna reverse it in a month, so don't worry about it.
do you think so?
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
He'll
I
get
hope
too much
not.
pressure from Washington. He'll get too much pressure from everybody about the logic of this and the fact that you have to be in alignment with at least the Western countries or the Western states and BC.
I
And
don't know
it's
that
just
America makes that much of a difference now to
okay.
us. No, I do. That's just my opinion. I'm entitled to it. I'll stand by it. It was
Okay.
like we need to be super aligned with Washington, Oregon, California. Half the year we will be. Half the year we will be, and the other half of the year we'll be in line with Calgary and Saskatchewan. We're going to be on mountain
Maybe,
time.
maybe we'll take the leadership role in this one.
Maybe.
Maybe,
We'll
maybe,
see
maybe
what
they'll.
happens. I just thought, as you said off the hop, though, it was the worst rollout of a good news story ever because my friend Sylvia texted me the government website thing that I think I sent you. And she texted it to me, and I looked at the headline. I'm like, oh, if only. And I sent that back to her because I didn't have time to read it in the moment that I got it. I think I was in my class, something.
Yeah.
Like I saw it move on my watch. And then when I clicked it open, I'm like, Jesus, this is from the government website. It actually is happening. I posted on my social media. No news outlet had it at that point. I thought we were just going down the rabbit hole of the same discussion that we have every year
Right.
at this time about
Yeah.
can we stop changing our clocks? How many radio days have you spent talking about it?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that is just, it's gone. It's gone forever.
I don't get the sleep argument. I've never found that a problem, but okay,
Kids and
whatever.
like babies and
Oh,
pets. Babies and
whatever.
pets. But both of us have had babies. Yeah.
I don't sleep anyways, so it doesn't matter. I guess the 5 hours of sleep, 5 hours whenever I can get it, whatever.
Is that
Go to bed at
all?
1, get up at 6. That's my schedule.
That explains why you're so grumpy. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, well, okay, so we're still in the province, and David-Eby is. Oh, I forgot to talk about World Cup. I thought of
Yes.
you. Granville Street gonna be a
Yes.
pedestrian mall again. It's gonna be exactly
Hooray.
what you've been calling for.
And more benches and places to sit and put the food out into the street, just like during the Olympics. And guess what will
Will it
happen?
stick this
It'll
time?
feel safer. No, because TransLink demands that they have to have their buses on Granville, and we decide
Why?
we just follow whatever TransLink says. I don't know. You tell me.
Nobody wants to stand at a bus stop on Granville Street.
Nobody
Nobody.
wants to be on Granville Street. My
No,
kid won't even, Queen won't even walk down there, and he lives downtown. I'm not going down that shithole. No way,
because it
man.
smells like.
You don't feel
Mm,
safe. It's a bit better, but it's still like everything's so stupid on that street. The design is ridiculous. They cut all the trees down like 20 years ago, put these shitty little benches all along there. It's like they don't even face each other. They're like weird L-shaped, and then there's these
right.
bike racks, and then you can park on the sidewalk. It's like, what is this mess? It's
It
like
is
a
a
piece
mess.
of
And
garbage
it
for
used to be entertainment district. You'd go to the movies down there. You'd go get a
yeah,
burger and a beer down there. You go to the record store. Remember A&B Sound? Remember when you go
yeah.
stand in line to buy your concert tickets down there? Oh my God, it used to be so fun. You'd have the great slice of pizza, super cheap, and you'd meet your friends, go hang out at the McDonald's down there. I mean,
Remember Sky Bar when it opened?
oh yeah. Yeah,
Sky
yeah.
Bar? Sky.
Yeah,
It was so like cool. Like it was like 4 stories, and there was a roof
totally.
deck, and all around grandmother. Now it's like I don't know what it is, some kind of Irish mess.
I don't know. Yeah, it used to
Sky
be. It
something.
used to be
What is it?
great. It used to be great. Well, okay, so David-Eby back to the province.
He's doing that for the soccer, of course, which I'll
Yeah.
be watching so closely. Um,
Will you?
no, I
No.
won't watch any of it.
That's the one with the
Um,
black and white ball.
but I will go to the fun things. Now there
Yeah.
was something that the peony
Peony Amphitheater. The
there.
new
So
amphitheater?
will it be
Fan
open?
zone. Fan
Is it
zone.
open now? Will it be open in time?
No. I mean, it'll be open. It'll be completed in time for FIFA. And this is
Okay.
what I'm reading, that it's open in time for FIFA, that there will be a fan zone experience there. So you can go to the other side of town to enjoy the World Cup. It's kind of like having a riot for the Canucks on Robson Street while the game was actually at the Pacific Coliseum
Right.
kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
bad example, but distance. But there's a fan zone. So it's a 10,000 person outdoor covered amphitheater, if you don't really know what they've built. What it was $183.7 million for this venue.
I think it came in 3 times the price they were planning or something.
Yes. It
So
was, I think
10,000
the
people out of the
initial bid
peony.
was 70 million.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a beautiful build. It's a beautiful site. It's going to be great, but it
It's
is
going to
very
be great.
expensive.
We need it. Yeah, we
But
need it.
so, but here's the thing. So Olympics, we were all so excited. I remember I was involved in I actually created a temporary pub for a
Right.
client right behind the library. It was called the Glacier Lounge. It was amazing. I got to run a bar
Amazing.
for a month. It was pretty cool. There was this sort of general excitement of stuff, and I don't get that sense. But I do remember people. Remember that first week of the Olympics, and everybody was mad, and people, a guy died, and everybody was
Yeah,
like, "This sucks," and nothing. There
the
was
Georgian
something.
loser.
There was a couple of incidents on Georgia Street that were kind of violent, and then suddenly we started winning all those gold medals, and suddenly it all became yay Canada. And everything you would go down at night to to Robson and
It
to
was
the Robson
amazing.
and where the Robson and whatever it was, how or whatever that zone. It was not even an official area,
Right.
and it
It
would
was
just be
Robson and Howe. It was right by the art
yeah,
gallery. Yeah.
that's right. And it was so much fun. You go
So
down there
much
and just
fun.
everybody just jumping around, having fun, celebrating Canada. Really, it was
It was
great.
beautiful. Yeah, it really
Hopefully, we'll
was.
see that this time. But
Lots
I
of
don't.
little red mittens. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
because the lead up to the 2010 games, can you believe that was 16 years ago? Jesus. The lead up to the
crazy.
2010 games, everybody was freaking out about what it's going to be gridlock. No one's going to get anywhere. Go, don't
Right.
drive your car down here. Like it was just so worst case scenario, which we're famous for, by the way, in the lower mainland.
Yeah.
Let's look at the worst thing that can happen and predict that. And then the worst thing didn't happen, and people used transit and they moved around thoughtfully, and you got to go places so much faster than you expected. And I loved it. I had just moved back from Toronto in 2009.
Yeah.
So we landed ready. Within a year, we were in like total full Olympic mode. And God, it was a blast. It was so much
And there
fun.
were
And
so many
you
places
had
to
your
party.
bar, you had your Glacier Lounge, and I remember it because
Hmm.
I went down there, and I also went to the Molson Canadian House a lot, and that's where I watched the gold medal hockey game where Sidney Crosby
Right.
scored that unbelievable goal. I was in the Molson
Yeah.
House, and it was just like, it doesn't matter that it's a tent in a parking lot. It's just everybody's there to have a good time.
Yeah.
Kind of like last night. Honestly, I was the PA announcer for Women's Night at the Canucks game last night. So I
Oh
did it
yeah.
last year. It's so much fun. Just sitting up in the John Ashbridge booth and doing like the introductions. And there was, everybody from Cami Granado to Nancy Green Rain. And I'm, doing the like walk in thing that's on the broadcast, which is super fun and scary and all that stuff. And
Hmm.
I'm looking around the building, George, and because it's a mean nothing game, I mean, our team is shitty, like super shitty, but fans are still into it. Like the cool fans, not the ones that jump on the bandwagon when the team gets good. And this isn't so much about hockey, but about the people in the city who I think showed up downtown for the Olympics that weren't
Right.
causing any trouble and were having a great time. The goodness in Vancouver, like after that riot in 2011, in that Stanley Cup run, the people who showed up the next day to clean up the city with buckets and brooms and rubber gloves and sponges to clean things up. Those are the
Yeah.
people who show up because it's fun, not because there's something in it for them. Like last night, I saw that at Women's Night in this full arena. Everybody stayed to the very end. They started doing the wave. The team at one point was down by 2 goals, and everybody still stayed and danced and had a good time. I really hope that that's what happens with FIFA. Um, I do also hope that all the people that are like, I'm not going to the US right now, I'll go to games in Canada, end up coming up here and spending all their money in our town and propping up the restaurant
True.
business and tourism and you know
I
I mean,
guess
I
Iran
loved
won't. I guess Iran won't be playing in the.
Oh
This,
God.
shall we go? Should we go there to the
I
World?
mean, yeah, I was gonna bring up the buried on a Friday deal that the federal government, hot potatoed to our province with the Musqueam First Nations on uh,
Oh yeah.
trying to truth and reconciliation with um,
Right.
waterways and what's it called? Oh, I've lost the actual term because it's not about land title. It's about
Well, it's about yeah.
management,
Yeah.
ocean and
Of
waterway
mhm.
management. You know what I mean?
Federal land that's shared in a way that yeah.
Yes.
It's not your
Yes.
private property, I guess is the basic
No,
principle. And Wade
pretty
Grant,
triggering
who's an
for people.
MP,
Yeah.
Musqueam,
Yeah.
very, very being very trying to be like, hello, it's not about this. And
Right. He's trying to
um
calm the waters, literally, where people are, because the
mhm,
government buried it on a Friday.
yeah. And if it's such a big deal or good news, why didn't they make it a good news story?
7:15 on a
Uh
Monday. That's where you tell
yeah,
people stuff. Come
that's
on.
right. If you want people to know.
But it did fly
Mhm.
under the radar because on Saturday, bombs are flying. I mean, all of
Yeah.
a sudden we do have war. War.
Yes, it's a war. contrary to popular terminology. The
It's not a
Department of War,
conflict.
I believe, is in charge of it. You change the name of it, the organization that's kind of running the show. So don't deny that it's a war. But it's quite the spectacle, that's for sure.
Is he
I don't
getting a
know.
peace prize yet?
Yeah. Well, do you get a peace prize if you start a war and then stop your war?
I
How
don't
does that
think
work?
so. I don't think so.
Well
We're
done,
talking
well
about
done.
Iran. Obviously, we're talking about the United States launching uh, what's it called? Something Fury.
Operation
Uh,
Fury, I guess.
something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what? Six and women, U.S. servicemen and women have died. You know, a
Hmm.
thousand plus Iranians have died. I mean, the civilian casualties are starting to mount. Like, I just can't believe how unreal every single day seems to be when it comes to the news cycle.
I mean, that regime needed an ass kicking, but for sure. I mean, they terrorized their people the last 6 months and killed 30 to 50,000, we're not quite sure, of their own people
Yeah.
who were just trying to communicate how upset they were with the government. This government's was out of control for sure. So we can
Yeah,
argue
that's
whether or
true.
not this should be invasion, but it's this process and that's interesting and the lack of uh, openness to the
Transparency.
process.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's supposed to go through the
yeah,
branches of government in the US. Like, it's actually not in the Constitution that a president can wage war without having it passed through the Senate. Like,
yeah.
that's a part of the Constitution. And it's just yet another thing that and it almost is like, hey, don't love how everybody's still talking about the Epstein files. Let's do something else. And it keeps escalating, higher and
You're
higher
gonna
and
run out of
higher.
things to do. Eventually those Epstein files will surface.
Yeah.
But yes,
I mean,
it's going to be interesting. And today we just had a press conference before our show, and he was talking about the numbers and how great it's going. And so who knows? And right now it's really about oil and gas. I guess if the gas prices go up, that's good for Alberta.
it's good for
So
Alberta, good, which
bad
is good for
for
Canada,
yep. And maybe
right?
we can stop talking about separation.
Maybe. I mean, but again, Iran is one of the most, was um, one of the most progressive countries on the planet. It's sitting on the second largest natural gas and oil reserves on the planet, and was super progressive into the 80s until it was taken over by um, the, the
Yeah.
the
Well, late
people
70s.
who would restrict women to the point of shock and awe that the restrictions on the people of Iran continue to this day. And as you say, like, there are many points of this. Like, there were not a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's too bad that that leader was taken out," um, and and yet at the same time, like, what's the plan here? Was there an end game? Like, what they right now, America can't even just the government can't even really articulate what the reason was to go in, because it's like you listen to one person, it's like, we went in because they were imminent threat. They were coming at us with the weapons that they have made. Well, didn't you just completely obliterate their weapons 3 months ago? Like, there's nothing's really clear. And yet
Well, yeah, the
countries around
end
the world
game
have to
for sure.
react, right? So our prime minister has said, we're on side. We're on
Yeah.
side with the US. And then Keir Starmer in the UK is like, not down. We're not doing it. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh God. So
97% of the MAGA support it, MAGA
do they?
Republicans. So,
Yeah.
I think generally think that there's support for the fall of that regime, but its replacement is the question. And I think a lot of certainly Iranians are worried that it'll be like Venezuela and they'll just put in somebody else who's just as
The
horrible, but
same.
maybe
The
they have a
same.
bit more control over, and the
Right.
people's lives won't change that much at all because it's all about, guess what? Oil and gas.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is what Venezuela's about, and now it's what Iran's about. Who's going to control that? What will Russia have to say about? What will China have to say about this?
Right.
And that's the ultimate. So, will the people be better off? I think that's the ultimate question. That's what we hope, and I think that's why most of us would support this kind of invasion and this kind of war, But at the end of the day, if we don't see that and we just see the same regime like we are seeing in Venezuela, not giving people any more, I mean, I haven't heard
Yeah.
much about Venezuela since
But
then,
we're
but
not hearing about it because we're too busy now talking about this, which is also, so we're
right.
not talking about the Epstein files. We're not talking about um, the chaos that has been front and center with the immigration policy and ICE officers in
Yeah.
blue states and cities across the United States and U.S. citizens, perishing. Just shocking
Yeah.
news stories day after day. And now it's 24/7 coverage of what's happening in 12 countries across the Middle East, and some pretty scary stuff there. We'll stay on top of it. It's interesting that now I read an article this morning that the Western countries involved in the conflict are actually speaking to Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine, the president
And
of Ukraine, to talk about,
drone
yeah,
technology.
yeah, like how
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly are you taking down these drones? It's like,
Yeah, yeah. Meanwhile,
course
on the other side of
correct.
the world, our prime minister is busy making
He
deals and
is.
saying, "Okay, you guys do your war. I'm going to be over here in Australia and Japan and
India.
in India,
Yeah.
negotiating some multi-billion-dollar deals so that Canada cannot rely on America and China and other massive countries for its ability to succeed in the future."
Making trade deals, making security deals. Lots of controversy around the discussions with India, given all of the history that we don't have time to delve all
No,
into. But there are a lot of things. But I do love the fact that he didn't dress up in costume when he went to India, so that's good.
I don't
That
see that. I never did as a politician.
No, but Justin
Meanwhile,
Trudeau did that and
Pierre
it
Poilievre's
stole
in
the
England. What
headline.
happened?
Just before we move on,
Yeah.
though, I love the
Mhm.
fact that there are leaders across the Western world who are looking at what Prime Minister Mark Carney's doing and they're following in his footsteps. He's got a solid 1 year head start on everybody, especially having announced at Davos at the World Economic Forum that Canada is open for business. And then
Yeah.
he is tirelessly circumnavigating the globe, meeting with everyone he possibly can to try and make deals. Like Saskatchewan got the farmers in Saskatchewan got such a relief on canola oil, making that deal with China. Like there is massive movement for farmers, and right, the steel and auto industry in Canada still suffering. Both things can be true at the same time, but there is relief for some while there's still pain for others. And I think there's this momentum that is happening that it feels like we're doing better than people would have predicted a year ago.
Yeah. Yes and no. We'll see. I mean, definitely my
We'll see
clients are
for
suffering out
sure.
there. But I
Yeah.
saw a comic with Keir Starmer saying it was like Trump was mad at him for not opening up, letting him landing, and he said, and there was like this comic, and he said, "Can you just tell that to the there's a phone call?" He said, "Can you tell that to the public now, please? Because
Right.
now it's we were out of the gate on the anti-Trump movement, but we never bowed down to him as Europe did and UK did and all these countries, and there, we're like, no."
Yeah.
No. And
And we
that's
didn't even
great.
talk about, I don't know that we even talked about it. The Supreme Court. Um, we talked about the tariffs stuff and the Supreme Court saying those are illegal and you got to pay people back for that. But the Supreme Court and other lower courts have ruled now on, you know, how some of the law firms were like bended knee to
Yeah.
Trump. They're like, no, that's not a thing. We're going to, no, you can't control that. You can't, it's like some of the challenges that are happening sort of behind the scenes in the lower courts, and I shouldn't say behind the scenes, but out of the news cycle.
Hmm.
Is fascinating and it's hard to keep track of it. But some of the bluster over there is being tipped over um, because there are safeguards in place, which let's hope. Everybody loves Netflix now that Netflix is not part of the big takeover of Paramount, Warner Brothers, HBO
Except will
Max, that whole
CNN
thing.
become will CNN become Fox News?
Probably.
Hmm.
Probably. But there's a discussion about taking all the people from CNN and honestly, those who left 60 Minutes, putting them on Netflix, calling it 59 Minutes and calling it, 180 Degrees with Anderson Cooper. Like, we'll see. It's a changing landscape, which you and I know.
YouTube's got the Academy Awards for 2030, so
That's
anything's
right.
possible now.
YouTube and Substack and independent media. And yeah, the big fat executive paychecks are going away. There's going to be way fewer of those people. But the worker bees, there'll still be work for, unless you're a worker bee like Christy Nome, because she got fired today. So I just wanted to.
There we go.
Corey Lewandowski also out with Christy Nome. But the new guy, Mark Wayne, what's his MMA? Like a junior senator from Arkansas. I don't even know. The guy
It's
that couldn't.
MMA. Was he a
Yeah,
wrestler?
he was
Yeah.
a wrestler. Yeah, he was a MMA
No.
fighter. Yep, he's the guy that tried to pick a fight with the union. Oh gosh,
So the
like
guy running
in
Ireland.
the Senate. Remember, it's like, we'll go right now. Let's go. And he's standing up, and Bernie Sanders is like, everybody sit down. This is the Senate. Mark Wayne, what's his nuts is, sorry, I shouldn't call him I can't remember his last name. Mark Wayne is his first name, but he's taking over from Kristi Noem, and he can't tell the difference between Iran and Iraq and doesn't know why we're there. So great. He's in charge of Homeland Security for the United States.
Well, that's, somebody's going to have to be in charge of that because that's going to be their biggest challenge is terrorism.
I mean,
anyways,
take care of your neighbors. Stay involved in your local news, and for the love of God, vote. Be informed and vote. And maybe you'll be voting for George-Affleck for mayor. We'll keep you tuned in. I'm going to keep people like this, George. I'm getting DMs. Get George to run. You can follow along. You love it. On social media, it's at George _. Affleck, at George_Affleck. I'm at jody-vance, Jody with a Y, at jody-vance. And UnSpun Podcast. Tell your friends about it. Like and subscribe. Share it. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.